What's up, guys? I'm Joe. Today I'm talking about the new Black Veil Brides album, Vale. So Black Veil Brides are back. This is their 5th studio album. A band known for their, sort of Motley Crue meets Kiss aesthetic. They're very influenced by, the glam rock bands of the 80s. They kind of have that arena rock sound. And a band that has overall kind of stuck to the same kind of formula throughout their career. What you're getting on Vale is not much different from their other albums, though they are sort of leaning even more towards a pop sound on here. I mean, they've always had big, anthemic, catchy choruses. They've always gone for the hooks, so that's nothing new. And you're getting a lot of that on this album. But I do find a lot of the time on this album, it's missing a lot of that punch that they used to have. An album such as Set the World on Fire, which, again, a lot of big hooks, here and there, but definitely had a lot of punch to it, a lot of, heavier edge. And of course, there's quite a few pretty good, rock metal type songs on here. For instance, songs like The Last One and The Outsider. Like I said, while they're big on the hooks, which they've always done, I think when the band is packing that extra punch with the great riffs, big heavy rock, that's when those hooks work the best for me. The last one opens very Avenged Sevenfold-esque. It makes me think of This Means War, which is very Metallica-esque, sounds a lot like Sad But True. But you have that kind of feel going on here, these harmonizing guitar parts, and then it eventually comes in, packing this great groove, pretty awesome riff going on there. And yeah, the chorus is gigantic, and it's very hooky, very catchy, but the energy really sells it on this track. The Outsider being fairly similar in structure to the last one, but again, just, providing a fun, rock-heavy song. My Vow is one of my favorites on here. I feel like this is where things finally really kick into gear. In the more rock-based songs, they had stuck to more sort of groovy type stuff. The Vow, really amps things up, gets the speed going, which is cool. Harkening back to some of their older material that was a little more upbeat. And another good track being Throw the First Stone, even though the hook on it sounds a lot like the last one, which is kind of weird to me. It kind of sounds at times that ideas are being a little recycled on here. In some instances, it's in a cool way. In the end of Dead Man Walking, you have this sort of overture thing, which is like a orchestrated version of some of the material we've heard on the album so far, which is kind of cool. Like I said, that hook is kind of the same on Throw the First Stone as it is in the last one, which is kind of weird. But what I like about the songs I mentioned is the energy's there, the rock is there. The guitar work on this album is pretty great, and it really always has been. I just think they work better as a rock/metal band, really letting the guitars shine. I'm not really a big fan of the more pop-leaning stuff on here. It seems a little forced. When They Call My Name, very generic sounding. Our Destiny, very similar. It sounds like a pop version of Diary of Jane by Breaking Benjamin. That hook is very similar. Dead Man Walking, better for a more ballad type song because it builds up to something and it gets more energetic and rocky as it sort of goes on. I like that mix. If they're going to go for a more ballad type sound, because the glam bands of the past always had big ballads. So it's not surprising that they would do stuff like that. They have done stuff like that in the past. But I just think a lot of these, they just lean too much into the radio pop territory, and I'm not a big fan of the whoa everywhere. And what's funny about that is, you start to hear it on Wake Up, you hear it on some of these other tracks, and I was like, wow, they sound like every other whoa that I don't really like, and I look into it, and sure enough, John Feldmann produced this album. John Feldmann, singer of Goldfinger, they had a record come out last year. He produced the Blink-182 record, California, and he had worked on a band, Beautiful Bodies, which I discovered because they were opening for Real Big Fish. And he just always goes for the same whoa. I know it's him because it's these 4 separate records now that he has his hands in that have the same exact whoas. And I don't know if he thinks no one's going to notice it, but I noticed it. I'm onto you, John Feldmann. Yeah, I talked about that in my Goldfinger review, and here it is again, sure enough. I found it really funny. There's the same kind of woes that I don't care for, and it comes from the same source, John Feldmann. Yeah, so overall, like I said, this album definitely works better in the more rock-based moments. They're a very talented band. They're good musicians. Like I said, I prefer their more rock-metal influence. I think the ballads just lean too pop-heavy on here, and I don't like all the whoa. Again, not a terrible album. One you can listen through. I can see myself going back to some of these songs, definitely not all of them. So I'm feeling like a 2.5 out of 5 on this one, kind of leaning towards a 3, but I don't know about that. I don't think the tracks I like outweigh the ones I don't so much on here. So yeah, let me know what you think of the album in the comments, whether I'm right, whether I'm wrong. And as always, thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. We are nearing 100 on here, which is pretty cool. So if you like the video, check out some others, subscribe. That'd be great. So yeah, as always, thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time.